right, good day, peoples. Well, not quite. It's depends on which coast you're on, right? It's after midnight on California time and early AM on the East Coast. Okay, guys, let's jump in here to AMZY and Amazon. I'm always saying this, but I tell you, this is a joy to do. It just is just marching along. It doesn't have all the drama. It's still got a good yield and payout. And by the way, I fixed that Amazon. A couple of you mentioned one in comments and one in my Discord. And I had taken Tesla earning date and had it in my mind and plugged it into AMZY. So apologize for that. It pretty consistently it's August 1st out there. So it does not impact next week's week ending 7/26. And I kind of wondered, although we've continued to kind of go down with the tech market, um, but I was a little concerned at that. All right, so what happened on Friday? Well, we went down a small bit, 0.34 in Amazon, and we went down a little bit more at 0.49 from 2061 to 2051. There were 50,000 shares, so let me update this. I did all the cash and all the holdings, but I did it over in the holdings tab. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about it here. So we did put 3 trades on. Okay, excuse me. So we put on um, a synthetic, a buy, call, a sell short for 120 contracts. I think just using this 50,000 share money. And then we also did a naked call, a weekly. So on top of all the 195, 197, and now that we're over here at 183, those look pretty distant. They're looking great, right? We're down at 183 and we can go up to 195 or 197. And this is not crypto, this is Amazon, right? No earnings next week. So they got $1.54 for the 120 contracts. Not a lot of money, 18,000, but they collected it, right? And they did go down to 187.50, so that's within 3%. So I'll show you that on the weekly, but let's go out and take a look at the synthetic because that gave us pretty good cash because when you're got a 200, you're under it, right? So when you buy a call, um, they're cheap because you're way under it. So you're going to get good cash for the because you already have value because that puts more valuable because it's $17, right? $16 and something underneath um, that price. So that's exactly what happened. They paid 301 for the call and they got 1936. So even though it's a small quantity, that added almost 200,000, right? You can see here 196. So when we go down here, we now have for this month collected 894 for July for this, and again, I go from um, declaration date to declaration date for my accounting for these guys. And this is a new one for me. So um, it took a little while to set it up, but it's all set up. So looking on the weekly, we continue to have these, and we had put these on a little while ago. There weren't any rolls yesterday. That all happened earlier in the week. The only thing we did was put on the weekly call and then the synthetic for 120. So you can see we're down a little bit in both of these, as I mentioned. Volatility is still getting up because Amazon, look at where it would be on this chart. This is around 183, so it's come back in this range. I mean, earnings could send it back up, but realistically, we've got 6.5 and almost 8% room to run next week, even though earnings aren't relevant, right? Because I changed earnings to October to August 1. So when you look at the calendar, that's into the following week. So when they write at the end of next week, then they have to take into consideration the first. Um, Let me look. on that calendar. Yeah, that would be the following Thursday. Okay, let's go look out at holdings and see how we're doing. That always tells us a lot more detail, right? So here's the state of affairs. Since we're dropping little bits, we increase our synthetic loss because that thing's at 200. We're now down to 183. Not huge. I mean, again, a rally's going to help that. So here's my visual, and I turn the text into red when it's negative, and I'll do green when it gets into a positive mode. So 14 million down from 13 million, down from 9, down from 5, right? And that's kind of reflective of the Nasdaq and the Mag 7. You know, I had told somebody that in one of the trends that I thought I would see a sector rotation within high tech to go to both the Russell 2000 and the other 493 companies that are becoming undervalued because all the money was flowing in the big tech guys, you know, the top 10, the top 15, and very much into the Mag 7. And look what NVIDIA's come down to. I think it's 113, 118. It looks to me like it could hit 104 on the chart. That 100 range has been calling. And again, it's not over for NVIDIA by any means. It's going to do well, but it just shows you when the FOMO comes out of big tech, right? That's what happens. These things ebb and flow. So, you know, when you're sitting there at 140 saying this thing's going to 500, you know, when it's run the way it's run, no, it's probably going to pull back. And it's exactly what it's not just like NVIDIA, you know, NVIDIA, it's the tech, the big tech market. And you're seeing it in Amazon. So they can turn that around with earnings. All right. So what else? This looks really good. Look at these two. These were where they wrote the 195s and the 197s. And when did they write those? They wrote those on 17, so on Wednesday of last week. So the money's coming out of them. Time premium, they're dropping. So that's really looking good on those guys. And even the one, well, the one they just wrote, they're down a little bit. I think, what did they write? 148, 147, 154. Yeah, and that thing is now 158.5. So call it almost, and it's small. Look at the contracts, right? The fact that they've captured 76, 77% is pretty awesome, in total of 75 across everything. Um, so pretty awesome. All right, let's take a look in payouts. This is looking better because when they wrote that synthetic and put the money in the piggy bank, even though they have that liability, so I said, hey, our synthetic is losing 14 million on paper, right? Which would be, you know, $1.70, something like that. But again, that can all get fixed and made up. In the meantime, they got an 18,000 added here, which hardly did anything. But this almost 200,000, you know, that gave us a little bit more cash. So we're on target. Um, if earnings don't blow out and the weeklies get killed, but then we would catch up on the synthetics. But I'm seeing, you know, like I said, 70 cents here. We could be high 60s, even up to 75. So this guy's wonderful and easy to report on. I mean, they have activity, but I like what I see out of it. Always like the company. I learn a lot more in how the fund managers are doing, and this fits an easier model. Okay, guys, again, it's not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye for now.